The last word.
Gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today, we're here for the children, for the kids. We're talking about protecting our kids from out-of-control gun violence in America. You know, it was almost 10 years ago, December the 14th of 2012, when Sandy Hook took place. A 20-year-old armed with an assault weapon, murdered 20 children between the ages of 5 and 6, and killed 6 teachers. And at that time, the head of the NRA, Wayne LaPierre, uttered words that Republicans continue to march to today, and that is that the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. It hasn't worked in the schools since Sandy Hook. I watched last week, the nation watched a press conference, Governor Abbott of Texas recounting what allegedly occurred at the school, where 19 more children murdered by a guy with a long gun, an 18-year-old. And Governor Abbott was interrupted by my former colleague, Beto O'Rourke, who was just frustrated at what he was hearing. You see, the governor was not telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. He talked about, the governor, that there was a school resource officer, a good guy, with a gun who tried to stop the bad guy with the gun. But that turned out not to be true. It was actually 19 good guys wearing white cowboy hats with guns, and they weren't able to stop that 18-year-old with a more powerful weapon than the one that they had. And so today, we're talking about reining in this out-of-control gun violence, which prevents our children from being able to feel secure as they go to school. You know, over the last 10 years, we've had a series of events in this nation where there have been good guys with guns who weren't able to stop the bad guys. 2 weeks ago in Buffalo, New York, 10 people murdered, including an armed security guard and former police officer who shot at the gunman, but the gunman had a bigger gun than he had. And he was, this brave former police officer put his life on the line, and we thank him for that, but he lost his life trying to protect others. Bad guy with a gun, 1. Good guy with a gun, 0. In 2017, police and security guards were present both at the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival in Las Vegas and in the hotel where the shooter was perched and carried out that mass murder. 58 people killed and over 800 injured. Bad guy with a gun, 2. Good guy with a gun, 0. In 2016, at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, an armed security guard shot at the gunman before the gunman went into the club, ultimately killing 49 people. Bad guy with a gun, 3. Good guy with a gun, 0. In 2018, a shooter killed 10 people at Santa Fe High School in Texas, even though there were 2 officers who were on site, and 1 was wounded trying to stop the gunman. Bad guy with a gun, 4. Good guy with a gun, 0. We've listened to my colleagues on the other side recount a series of situations where individuals armed with handguns, protecting themselves and the lives of others, were successful. And I can't argue with that other than to point out that they didn't do it with assault weapons. They had handguns. Earlier in 2018, a school resource officer was on the campus at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, but he couldn't stop the gunman from killing 17 high schoolers. Bad guy with a gun, 5. Good guy with a gun, 0. When will we stop relying upon this failed notion that the only thing that stops bad guys is good guys? Congress can stop some bad guys with some good legislation, and that's what we're here to do today, and with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back for purposes of Mr. Roy seek recognition.
Want to ask to speak on the amendment?